Good afternoon. It's Craig Hall with Heavener Ledger. I'm here today with Heavener Superintendent Ed Wilson and Heavener Athletic Director Jim Roll. Ed was going to update us on what's going on with the school and some graduation ceremonies and a few other things.
You bet, Craig. Well, thank you and the Ledger for taking this opportunity to let us communicate with our community and patrons. We appreciate that, Craig, and everything. And talk a little bit about, first of all, we're going to look at the 8th grade promotion. We have two dates set, Friday, June 26th, and then an alternate date would be June 27th if we had rain or inclement weather. And so, but beginning at 5 p.m. is going to be the 8th grade promotion. Now, the one caveat to the 8th grade promotion is that it's going to be inside the gym. And, so there's going to be limited space. The graduates are going to have I think it's a number of 4. They can bring 4 guests with them. And of course, we're going to kind of quartered off maybe, quadrants in the gymnasium seating, because it holds about 900 people at max capacity, but with the social distancing guidelines, that's how they come up with the number of 4 guests. And so we want to take that opportunity and kind of quarter it off a little bit, and then let our families and guests spread out that way. And so Mr. Westfall's got a lot of information. Be sure to check out the Facebook page, the Heavener Public Schools Facebook page. And then at 8 o'clock that same evening, out on the football field there at Harvey Stadium, we're going to have our traditional high school graduation. We're going to have our speaker and try to keep it as much normal as we can. Again, though, it's going to look a little bit different, because typically in the past we've had our seniors sitting on the track facing east, and then the speakers and the podium would be kind of on the edge of the track, maybe, so to speak, and then we were facing the home bleachers, facing west. Well, we're going to change it up a little bit because of the social distancing and trying to keep everybody with the least exposure as we can. And we're actually going to set the graduates up out on the field somewhere probably around the 50. Have them social distance, their chairs social distance appropriately, with an aisle in the middle for them to walk in and then walk out, and then have the speakers and the Board of Education and the administration have our stage towards the south goal post facing north, and then that gives all of our guests, for the seniors and all of our community, they can use the home bleachers, they can use the visiting bleachers, and then they can also use the track, the oval of the track.
Now, I understand the junior high and 8th grade graduation, each one's limited to 4 tickets that they're supposed to pick up. Is there any limit on the high school graduation?
Not at this point, no, not at this point, no. But, we do want everybody to know, that that's why we're spreading it out. You see what I'm saying? We're spreading it out as much as we can. And we're not going to have any kind of, we're not going to encourage, groups, what I'm saying? In the past we hand out the rose, we have that little rose ceremony. Well, that's not going to happen, because, that's people, going in and out of the crowds and that type of thing. So we don't want to do that. We're trying to keep it as safe as we can, what I'm saying? Now, Mr. Craig and Mr. Nelson over at the high school, they're reaching out to the seniors, and they're getting these guidelines and these recommendations for the seniors, what to appropriately wear and things like that, with their gowns. And then they want them, to assemble with a mask, what I'm saying, and then come to a mask, and then like when we get our hand out our diplomas, the last time at the virtual, when we filmed it, we didn't shake hands or anything, with the graduates, simply because we're trying to, maintain that CDC guidelines of limiting contact. However, we also want to be able to, and we want to encourage people this, listen, if you want to come to this, you want to wear a mask, okay? If you want to come, and social distance, that's our recommendation, and that's what we're going to enforce. We don't want people just ganged up, because, we don't want to see a spike. We don't want to, have anything back, but we do want to give our graduates that opportunity to have the traditional graduation. We're also going to encourage anybody that's compromised or 65 and older, that the Heavener Ledger is going to stream both of those, the 8th grade promotion, and they're going to stream the high school graduation. So guess what? you know, if you want to watch it, you know, virtually being live streamed, you know, we want to encourage that as well. And so we think we've got a good plan, you know. We'll have some, we'll try to have hand sanitizer, but listen, you know, we don't have the manpower to check everybody's temperature when they come in, you know what I'm saying? So that's because there's going to be quite a few people there, you know, so we've got to have the community's help, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you're coming, you know, do your own temperature check, you know, and you know, we were going by what the CDC was, which was 100.4, but Oklahoma has suggested an even 100. So if you've got a temperature of 100 or greater, don't come, please, you know what I'm saying? You know, let's adhere to those guidelines. But you know, but we need y'all to, you know, the community. We need the community to also self-police or self-check, however you want to say that. And then I think that would, you know, be most helpful for us as well. And so that's kind of where we're at on, you know, on looking at that aspect right now. And like I said, I think we got a good plan. You know, we want to be able to celebrate our, you know, our seniors and our 8th graders as closely as we can. And you know, we think we got a good opportunity to do that. Yeah. And then just some other updates, you know, if I can, you know, just kind of talking a little bit about what, what does school look like? You know, that's where we're kind of headed right now. You know, what does the future look like? Well, you know, school's totally different than when we left, you know, spring break. You know what I'm saying? We know that. We know it is going to be somewhat different, you know. And of course, you know, we're still working on our end, you know, looking at, you know, different, you know, technologies and also the school calendar, and now we've even branched out to, you know, like school, you know, the school schedule, you know, how's that going to look as we come forward and as we progress. And so what we're seeing is that, you know, we want to implement, you know, virtual learning days, you know, built into the calendar. We realize that. But we're still having to work through with the state's guidance, you know what I'm saying? We're still working through different scenarios of like, you know, what happens if we get a case, you know what I'm saying? You know, we're having, you know, we never have, you know, been faced with, you know, we've always had a school nurse, you know what I'm saying? But we've never been faced with the recommendation of having like a quarantine room, you know what I mean? Or an isolate, you know, and that type of quarantine room. And so that's what we, you know, we're trying to get our different locations, our different sites to come up with a place that if we did have somebody, you know, whose temperature, maybe they got to feeling bad, you know, have that quarantine room or isolation room until they were able to, you know, go home or have their parents pick them up. So that's one thing that, you know, that we're working on. We're still having to work through, you know, different scenarios for like cafeteria schedules. You know, how are we going to, you know, is every kid going to be able to be in the cafeteria? Probably not, you know what I'm saying? It's probably going to have a rotational schedule where, you know, this many, you know, group of kids, you know, are over there at this time, you know, and these other, you know, 2 second grade classes may have to even, you know, in their classroom this week and then flip it, you know, that type of thing. And so, you know, those are different scenarios, you know. We're looking, you know, we're even having to look at hall procedures, you know what I'm saying, how we're walking, you know, traveling in the hall and entering the building and exiting the buildings and things like that. So, but we're doing all this because, you know, the number one thing is, you know, we want to return to school, but we want to return safe, you know what I'm saying, we want to return with a game plan that we know, you know, and that's why, you know, I want to do these Facebook Lives because we've got to get information out, you know. There's a lot of recommendations out there, you know, students, you know, listen, parents, if you want your children to wear a mask, wear a mask, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you're going to pick up the disposable ones, that's fine. You know, if you want to pick up the cloth ones, but you need to get 2 or 3 of them as the recommendation, you know, that, you know, they can be washed and reused or whatever. But you need to do that now, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, as we approach school, there's going to be a rush on those items, you know what I'm saying? There's going to be a high demand on those items. So we want to encourage our community patrons, for our parents and students, go ahead and get those if you want them to, you know what I'm saying? And get those items because that, we think, is going to be, you know, real beneficial. You know, when it comes to transportation, you know, that's a confined area, you know what I'm saying? Transportation is a confined area. Well, here's what we've talked about, you know. We know that it's a confined area. And we're going to have busing, transportation. But let me throw this out there, you know, if you can bring your child or your student to school, do it. You know what I'm saying? We're still going to have the transportation, we're still going to have bus routes and all that, but that is a confined space. And right now, you know, a confined space, you know, somebody, you know, is getting on in the morning. You know, we're going to rely on our parents. You know, that if that kid is at the bus stop, then we're going to be able to say, okay, we're entrusting that you are fever free or that you're symptom free. You know. Because, you know, if not, we need the parents to not send that child to the bus stop, you know, to catch the bus. And so those are some of the things that we're having to get out and you know, and work through and just to be safe, you know, and try to keep that, you know, and we need to have that dialogue. We need to have that communication now. We need to get that word out, because those are all things that, you know, you do this and I do this and Jim does this, you know, and we all do our part, we all make everybody safer, you see what I'm saying? And so that's where we're headed with this in that direction. You look at, you look at the, like a class schedule, you know, we're looking at several options, you know, traditional, blended, and then even totally virtual online, you know. We want to have those options available to our students, you know. That's taken a lot of time and energy on our end to try to figure out, you know, connectivity. We know that there's going to be connectivity issues. You know, if you're at home right now that doesn't have that good connectivity issue, now's the time to start having that conversation and that dialogue to try to get that, you know, connected at your home. You know, get your home and you know, connected. Again, I think I mentioned this the last time. You know, we were reaching out to several of our rural churches at some point because we want to try to get them to be able to, you know, aid us and with, you know, if we provided the technology such as the hotspots or something. So. Anyway, we're just working that, and you know, we're trying to make sure that our kiddos are, you know, safe, and that everything will be, you know, everything's going to be ongoing, and it's going to be a growth, you know. But we do know that it's going to be, you know, when we left, you know, for spring break, when we re-enter in August, it's different. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a different. Now, it's not totally different, that's not what I'm saying, but there will be differences. There will be, you know, different procedures, you know, there's different ways that we're going to have to think about things, you know, and we understand that, you know, that you know, and if I may at this time too, let me talk to you a little bit about just, you know, another little aspect of safety, you know. On our Facebook page, we a couple of weeks ago, we launched a fundraising campaign for some water fountains. And these new water fountains have filtered water, but they also have this bottle filling station technology. And, you know, well, hey, you know, one thing that we can make our students safer and healthier would be if they brought their own water bottle, you see what I'm saying, to school with them. And then now we would have those opportunities in these filling stations. You know, now they could still use a traditional water fountain, but you know, it wouldn't. You know, but this is designed for those stainless steel or those plastic water bottles. You know what I'm saying? And so,
How much did each one of those?
I believe the ones that we on that campaign was $1,800. You know, it seemed like we had put in for, I want to say maybe 10 of them. You know, and we put a pretty lengthy campaign. You know what I'm saying? And we have that, you know, it's called tapwaterwatch.com, and then it says campaign heater, you know, that type of thing. And we've had, you know, some contributions and some donations already. But, you know, that's just going to be another, you know, way to keep us safer and, you know, healthier as we progress through this. And so, you know, we're kind of excited about that, and you know, maybe that would be able to, you know, get the community to, you know, buy in and help us, you know, and support us. You know, you don't have to live here. You know, you can be an alumni or a graduate of here, you know, and live off. But feel free to join that campaign, you know, and stuff. So we're excited about that. Let's see here, and then, you know, let me just read a few of these. These are the best practices that we've been given, you know, and so we want to get this information out as we go through, you know. Well, hey, you know, we always want to emphasize the safety and health of students, staff, and our community. So that's what we're doing now. We're trying to take that bull by the horns, and we're getting the word out, and you know, And if we'll start doing this as parents and as guardians and as a community, not waiting till August for this to happen, but start doing it now, I think it's going to make us safer. It's going to make us healthier. You know, we're going to follow the CDC guidelines the best that we can. You know what I'm saying, within reason. You know what I'm saying. That's that way. And some of those are the frequent hand washing. Staying at home when you're sick. Practice social distancing. And then wear a cloth mask. You know what I'm saying. Wear a cloth mask. If that's what you want your child to do, then by all means, we're going to support that. You know what I'm saying? And so we just want those parents to feel like, that it's okay if they want their child to wear a mask. That's okay. We're going to support that decision. So, we're going to try to do this communication, frequently and as best that we can. We're going to work, as will all schools in the county. We're going to work with our county health department, and we'll rely on their local guidance as well. What's the best case scenario is that, I hope we never have to deal with it, in our school or community. Is that possible? I think, yeah, it's probably possible, but the way it's going right now, we got to be prepared. You know what I'm saying? You can't just wait for it to happen and then decide what to do. You got to try to have that preparation. And listen, and we've already been faced with this, you know what I'm saying? But we realize that, there's a good possibility that some type of event, you know what I'm saying, just like graduation, it had to be postponed, you know what I'm saying? And, that's disappointing. That's disappointing to, not only your students, you know what I'm saying, but that's just, well, in the future, we may have a extracurricular contest, we may have some type of athletic event, we may have a play, or we may have a band concert, you know what I'm saying, or even a contest, something of that nature. We realize that those things could be interrupted, they could be postponed or something, and we realize that that's, that is something that is a possibility. We know that it affects, our students, our faculty, our staff, and our community, and we know that it can be disappointing at times, but just realize that any time something like that happens, is that, those decisions are being weighed for what's best for our community and our students, you know what I'm saying? It's not that, and we'll do that on the recommendation a lot from, like I said, our health department and even our state education department, and and even our Oklahoma Secondary Schools Activity Association. We'll try to take in all their information and their guidance before we make those kind of decisions. But we do realize that there is a possibility all through next school year that could happen. Those situations could happen. So we want our parents to be thinking about that now. And students need to be thinking about it. That that could really happen. And that disappointment, we're going to understand that it's disappointing. It's going to be disappointing to us as well. But all we can do at that point though is regroup and try to overcome it, and then reschedule it, or whatever we have to do. And then of course some of our guidance here that they gave us is to use video communication, which we're doing today, and then some of it's also being using our robocall, we call it, system. I know that is sometimes can be annoying, and we apologize in advance for that robocall, but it is necessary. At times it's going to be necessary. We kind of utilized it mostly in the past, based on inclement weather. However, we see that in the future that it's probably going to be, we'll use it more often. We may have to use it just if altered bus routes or something. I don't know. But we do have that. Of course, we have the Facebook Live with the Ledger, and we're appreciative of that. So, the bottom line of it is this right here. To all of our Wolf Nation out there, is that we realize that again, when we left that spring break and when we re-enter in August, it's going to be different. You know what I'm saying? But it's still going to be good. You know what I'm saying? It's still Heavener Public Schools, and it's still an awesome place, and it's still going to be an awesome place. We like to say around here that tradition never graduates. You know what I'm saying? In our elementary, we like to say that tradition, you know, they build tradition, you know, things like that. Well, here's the deal, you know, that is still part of who we are, and it's still part of our you know, our heritage, you know, and we're going to continue with that. Now, that doesn't mean that, you know, that we're all going to have flexibility. We're all going to have to be able to, you know, to be able to, you know, it may be different today, it may be different this week, you know what I'm saying? But just know that those, you know, what we're working towards and what we're trying to accomplish is for the betterment of our students and staff and the safety, you know what I'm saying, of our community as well. And so, you know, and I know that our community will support it, you know what I'm saying, because they understand that, you know, this is our future. You know, these kiddos are our future, and I know that they'll, you know, they want them to be safe as well. And so, you know, and just like, and if I get back, let me, you know, change gears real quick and get back to the graduation, you know, just like with the restrooms, you know, for the 8th grade promotion in the gym, and then like the restrooms at the football field, you know, we're going to have signs that's going to limit how many people can go in there now, you know what I'm saying, based on social distancing, and then also the number of facility, you know, toiletries and things like that. So we're going to have to, but those are things that we've never thought of in the past, you know what I'm saying? And people could wait in line, that's fine, but now you got to wait in line with a 6-foot, you know, social distance between you, you know. And those are just things that, you know, that we now have to think about. So, and we'll get through it, you know. But it's just going to take a little bit of time, and, you know, and that's why we want to do it now. We want to get the word out to our parents and whatnot, and that way our community and you know, and just know that, you know, this is all for the kids. This is, you know, this is to make our community safe, yes, but it's also make our students, you know, safe, you know, and our faculty safe. And so that's where we're at, you know. Coach Rowe, what do you got for us on the athletic front?
Well, not a whole bunch. I mean, you know, our original plan of action, remember how we opened everything up. But we did agree on the 15th of June we would let fans come in. You know, I mean, and for the most part, they have been great. You know, that was the number one question: when can we come in? And so we're letting them in. And for the most part, they're keeping their social distance. And you know, the only thing that, you know, we do a temperature check. We have them sign in, and that's in case something does happen. That way we can have that, what's it called, contact tracing, yeah. And right now everything's a go. Right now, you know, we're playing baseball, we're playing softball, and we're 7-on-7 football. The only thing we ask is if on the football, if they're having 7-on-7, we ask that you stay off the track until they get done. You know, the main thing is we're just trying to be cautious. Are we going to get it? Who knows? We hope we don't, but you know, you kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Do you open it up and let them play, and then all of a sudden you come down with it, or you try to proceed in a cautious and safe manner, and hopefully we don't get it, and it doesn't affect us. And you know, our fans, and not only our fans, even other communities that have come down, they've been super. Our coaches are constantly asking and checking, and they've been great at doing what they're doing. So, you know, we're all in this together, and hopefully when August comes, maybe we'll get started in the right track.
But this has kind of prevented you from scheduling like softball and some things like you typically would have that done.
Well, at this point, our fall sports, now we got football scheduled. You know, at one time there was rumors going around that we might not play the first 2 or 3 ball games, or we don't know. You know, they might say, well, you can play football, but you can't have no fans. I guess that's where your streaming service will come in. But we can watch. It's not the same, you know.
Right.
Hopefully it doesn't come to that. But, and you know, normally I'll have the schedules done by now. Now I have football, but softball, and even cross country and some of that stuff. If we do them right now, in 2 weeks it could change completely. So we'll have everybody's schedules as soon as we find out that we can do it.
And in the summer, you're still just basically practicing playing schools for the floor.
Yes, that's all we can do. I mean, and for the most part, I haven't heard one complaint about that. You know, the kids want to play, coaches want to go out and play, and they understand if we broaden our horizon or broaden our geographical teams we play, we're more likely to bring something in. And you know, you keep up with it pretty good. LaFour County, for the most part, is very, 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 very low. And that's how we want to keep it. So, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's going pretty smooth. You know, proud of our kids and proud of our coaches. They're all doing what we're asking them to do, and like I say, our fans are too.
And this is a situation nobody's ever been through, so it just makes it that tougher.
Well, you don't know, but if you're going to make an error, I mean, be cautious on the side of the kids and the school, because as I think we said last time, if we open this thing up and all of a sudden comes along first week of August and we have to, somebody gets sick or comes down with the virus, we have to sit out 14 days. That might be 4 or 5 conference softball games that could cause us a chance in the playoffs. So as much as we want to play right now, you know, the bottom line is when school starts, that's when it's going to count the most. So that's what we're trying to do.
Guys, thank y'all very much.
Greg,
Well,
thank you.
thank
We appreciate it.
Yes,
Yeah.
we sure do.
You know.